And we're live. Welcome everyone to testing day 3, 2024. It's done. No more kind of unlimited running throughout the day anyway. Long days, all right, long days of testing. It's finally upon us. Race 1, Bahrain, is the next time we'll see these cars on track. Thank you all for coming, wherever you are in the world. Salamander, Cowrie, Raka, Fahad, Jan, Kyler, Buckeye Rails, Chelsea Smile, Smithy, Almighty, Wizzy, Anders, Lolly, Manuel, Dashing Fox, Brett Spurs, Vincent, Dale, Emma, Pippo, Charlie, David, Darkman, Priest, Glenn, Indigo, Laddie, Tito, Renato, Niels, Absolute, Beat, Boot, Bot, Mark, Young, Ronit, Polly, thank you all for joining, wherever you are in the world. If you're here live watching on YouTube, you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, or you are audio only through your ears, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Even if you typically watch this on YouTube, I would appreciate it if you could, I don't know, 5-star or whatever on because why not? All right. If you enjoy the live show, then I would appreciate it. The live podcast, I guess. Let's talk about day 3, shall we? Okay, it's a wrap. No more testing. Testing's done. Next time we see cars on track will be FP1 a day early, Thursday. Wait, no. Yeah, no. The race is on Saturday, which means qualifying's on Friday, which means FP1's on Thursday, FP2's on Thursday, FP3's on Friday morning, UK time anyway. Qualifying is Friday afternoon, UK time. Races on Saturday. Same for Saudi as well. First 2 races. So yeah, make sure you don't miss it, because I think we're in for an interesting first race. I do. I think things are lining up to be somewhat amusing. Now, obviously, we've done a stream yesterday and the day before for day 1 and 2. Yeah, I know now. Races on Saturday. See? No, I didn't know. Let's have a look. Day 3 classification for testing in 2023 versus day 3 2024. And actually, the quickest lap time this time last year on day 3 was actually quicker than what Charles Leclerc did today. Now, obviously, Carlos Sainz is the only person to break the 1:30 barrier in testing at Bahrain in these new ground effect cars anyway. And 130.2 for Charles Leclerc was the best he could manage on, I believe it was the same compound that Carlos set his time on. Sorry, 130.3, not 130, I can't read. George Russell just behind him, Zhou Guanyu up there again, classic Zhou. He was top on day 2 in 23, was Zhou. Went for it at the end, little glory run. 85 laps on the board for him. Max down in P4. But I think he set his lap. Didn't he set it on used C3s? He's kind of used medium compound. Because for Bahrain next weekend, they will only be able to use the C1, 2 and 3, the harder range. The C4 and 5 won't be able to be used for the Grand Prix. I believe that's right. And so running on the softer compounds, obviously this is testing. It's not just testing for Bahrain. It is obviously particularly appropriate for Bahrain, but I guess the early day testing when it's not in Bahrain, because obviously Bahrain's a night race, right? So those earlier sessions are a bit more appropriate for the rest of the season. The evening sessions, you're going to optimize for what is going to do well at Bahrain specifically. Again, it's a track with, a lot of slow speed, not much medium high speed over at testing. Indeed, JB, indeed, testing is now over onto some real racing. And look, we've said this every day. You look at these numbers, they don't tell you much. There's a lot more you can glean from looking at long run pace. But there's so many different... there's a few different... in fact, someone I would really recommend, if you're looking for a Twitter account to follow that gives really good insights. And unfortunately, that's not worked, which is annoying. Let me just tell you what I'll do is I'll do a quick little screen share on the old Twitter, because formula data analysis, data analysis, however they go by it on old Twitter, well worth a follow. Well worth a follow. Although I'm not going to show you what they. I mean, there's details on race pace and all this kind of interesting stuff. Okay, so well worth a follow if you frequent Twitter. Okay, strong recommendation for me there. Formula data analysis, to take what we see in testing and actually, because we talked about this yesterday in terms of making it, maybe entertaining is the wrong word, but like, you know, we see the numbers, we see these lap times when we're watching, and the commentators are talking about these long run stint pace differences, but we're not really seeing anything on screen. It would be nice if we could get some graphics to contextualize the long run pace and compare long run pace when we're watching. I think that would be really helpful. But there you go. Well, look, Vale, you say Ferrari looks to be second. Look, we're going to go through the teams. We're going to go through the teams, okay, one by one. And I want to get your thoughts, because look, I've made my predictions. I've got my own perspective on what's happened, what's gone on. But ultimately, we're seeing what the teams want us to see, or will allow us to see. Have all the teams shown their full hands? Absolutely not. No chance. But first of all, let's talk about Alpine. The fact that Alpine listened. Alpine listened. Hang on, sorry. It's higher. How is it a pointless graphic if it's contextualizing long run pace? Surely that... whatever. Alpine listened to us. Alpine listened to... well, somewhat, okay? So you can see they've added a bit of blue on the nose, okay? The problem was, and again, the blue with the white sponsor logos is still, you know, very legible for these sponsors, is that you couldn't discern what car it was from a distance. This front on angle, we see this front on angle so often in Formula One, and if your car is not discernible and ownable from this front on angle, which it wasn't, and you know what, I still think the rear wing could do with a bit of blue, but as is, all right, I'll take that. You've got a bit more of a contrast now. You've got more blue on the car, and that contrasts quite nicely with the black. I'm happy with the change. Don't get me wrong, I still don't love the livery. I think they need to add more blue on the sides as well, for sure. But there you go. There you go. It's a minor change, but a positive change, I think they've made anyway. I'll try not to pop off too much on it. Same ugly, weird shape as Haas on the nose. I mean, look, a lot of these cars are going for the wider noses now. The Williams has done the same. It's obviously some kind of aero benefit to that is way beyond my pay grade. Way beyond my pay grade. Thank you, Will.i.am. One more week, everyone. I know, right? Exciting. So yeah, well done, Alpine. You listened. But what did we learn? What did we learn? Well, look, it's hard to say. However, I want to know what you lot think. That's what's most important to me on this stream. We're 10 minutes in. I want to find out the top 10, how you think they sit after testing. So we're going to do a bunch of polls, okay? We're going to do a bunch of polls. So everyone here, live on YouTube, thank you, first and foremost. There's over 1,000 of you here. So, who is... Right, we're going to start with P10. What team do you think is the slowest? And I'm going to put 4 options here. I mean, no one's picking anyone out of these 4 options. And I'm going to put them 4. So who's P10? Let me know in the poll who you believe looks the weakest car based off of what we've seen in testing. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know. Let me know in the poll. I mean, I'd be shocked if it isn't a certain team. And I mean, I'm not looking at the screen right now because I'm actually on Photoshop. But when I do look, if it isn't said team, I might just end the stream. I might have to just end the stream. Right, cool. Okay. Let's take a look. What are you saying? Who is looking stone dead last? 89% of you have said Haas. 89. And look, to be fair, right? Take a butch at the timings again. Is the timing? Here we go. So once again, K-Mag and Nico down. Nico not so bad. But again, we know that Haas have only been fixated on long run tyre performance. Understandably so. Their 1 lap pace was quite... They were not even 9th. They were like quicker than Sauber over a lap on average. Quicker than... you can argue quicker than Williams over a lap as well on average, for sure. So... You know, that they were approaching testing in the right way, in my opinion. But you lot putting him 10th. Shock. I'm so shocked you put them 10th. I'm so shocked you put us 10th. That's so out of character for you lot, chat. Okay, right. 1 poll done. Next poll. Who is P9? Is it Sauber? Is it Williams? Is it Alpine? Or is it Racing Bulls? What do we think? And thank you, Siddharth, for joining Friends of Tommo. Appreciate it. £2 a month if you want to support what I do. Very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. Link down below on the join button on YouTube if you're interested. So yeah, let me know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell you tips. Talk to me. Ooh. You know what? They might be getting they might have a fresh lick of paint, but with 77% of the vote, you lot have gone for Sauber. 75. Convincing victory there. Well, it's not a victory, really, is it? Their hard work weren't really able. Oh, look! Joe P3. Come on. Now look, they're not afraid to throw everything at testing right at the end to get some glory runs in to make the old sponsors happy. All right, they're not afraid to do that at Sauber, are they? Let's be real. Let's be real. Oh, convincing victory in P9 for Sauber. Well done, everyone. Well done. That's a ragazzi. Okay, all in to this stage, I would say I agree. I do agree. Let's go for P8. I think P8 is going to be a bit more. To be fair, I'm quite sure what you lot will vote for in these early ones, right? So we've got Alpine, we've got Williams, we've got Racing Bulls, and I'm gonna chuck. I'll chuck Aston Martin in as well. I'll give you 4 options, and I feel like they're the most viable 4. You know, rubbish long run pace for the Sauber kickers, the kickers at Sauber. What do we think? P8. Ooh, interesting. So, only 1% of you went for Aston Martin. Shock. 4% of you Racing Bulls. So, there's some confidence in the Bulls that race. 32% of you are saying Alpine, which is pretty brazy. But it is a convincing victory, for want of a better term, once again. For Williams in P8. And this is actually making my life easier because I've already set on the back end what order I think you... Well, no, sorry. I've already set on the back end the order of my predictions. And if you watch my full predictions video, if you haven't, then make sure you watch it after this. Then Haas, Sauber, Williams in that order is how I predicted the 2024 constructors to end up anyway. But obviously we're talking about, what do we think out the box? Where's everyone going to be in Bahrain? And you lot have put Williams P8. 61% now of the vote. The balls that race. So they are. Balls that race. Thank you, Dante, for the super chat, by the way. Very kind. Appreciate it. Much appreciated, Dante. Right. Let's get P7 going then. Based off that last poll, it looks kind of convincing who it's going to be. Let's go Alpine. Let's go RB. Racing Bulls. Just out of principle, I'm going to call them Racing Bulls. Okay. Aston or Mercedes. Put Mercedes in there. P7, perhaps. Come on. Who's P7? Who's going to rock up to Bahrain as the 7th quickest car? Oh, it's a convincing victory. 627 of you voted. 78% have gone Alpine. 17% Racing Bulls, not insignificant. 2% Aston Martin. 3% Mercedes. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Again, no surprise there. Graphic is already prepped, so we can get that updated. Bosch, lovely, job done. Right, Alpine P7, 78% of the vote, 16% Racing Bulls. Okay, it's gonna start to get interesting soon. P6, right? Who's P6? Is it RB? Is it? I've just called it RB. Whatever. Is it Aston? Is it Mercedes? Or is it? I'm gonna stick McLaren in there because why not? Right. Come on. What do we think? P6. Yeah, of course it's the Bulls that race. Of course it's the Bulls that race. Straight away, Bosch, which again, in line with my predictions, which I made before testing, by the way. So, more big brain, 72% of the vote, Racing Bulls, Bosch. 21% Aston Martin, 5% Mercedes. Interesting. Thank you again, Dante, for the super chat. Sorry I'm late. I just wanted to say the Vegas GP is officially taking apologies for drain covers that never happen on actual tracks. Oh, I love that. I love that. Literally, as soon as that happened, I was like, I bet there's Vegas defenders all over their keyboard being like, oh, yeah, well, look what happened now, eh? Hey, you aren't so good now, are ya? Okay, go. Right, next poll. Ziga, you're asking for F2 and F3 predictions. To be honest, I'm probably not going to be following the F3 that closely. The F2 definitely more so. I have done a video on the F2 where I think it's going to be the best F2 season ever. So you should maybe give that a watch. Right, P5. Is it Aston? Is it Mercedes? Is it McLaren? Or is it Ferrari? So this is where it starts to get a bit interesting, how you lot decide to vote on this. So obviously Aston Martin came at the block swinging in Bahrain. We know they know how to make a car that goes quick around Bahrain because we saw that this time last year. And in testing, obviously they've only really got one driver who's probably going to showcase the full potential of that car. Fernando's testing was inhibited somewhat today. 72% of you are saying Aston Martin. It's quite a convincing victory for P5 and Aston Martin, which again, it's already built into my predictions. So, all good. Right. Cook. Done. Aston Martin a P5. Let's go P4 now. P4. Is it Mercedes? Is it Ferrari? Is it McLaren? Or is it the balls that are red? As my good friend Cam would say. What are we thinking? Who's looking fourth best team-wise coming out of that test? Coming out of that test, who are we thinking? 67% Mercedes. It looks like over half of you have voted. McLaren 28% of the vote. So a sizable chunk for McLaren. McLaren did have their issues, bear in mind. Did have their issues. Lando lost a bunch of running time on today and on day 2 as well. Tight, but well, it's not tight on the vote. 66% Mercedes, but I think in real life it is somewhat close, somewhat tight. Literally, this is exactly. I'm not having to change these graphics at all. I was expecting to have to move the colour, but all right, big head for a reason. Brain, wheel knowledge. That's it, Pete. Smash the likes, bruv. Appreciate it. Okay. Right. P3. Is it McLaren? Is it Red Bull? Or is it Ferrari? Who are looking third quickest after this test, in your opinion? Talk to me. 75? Ooh, McLaren. I mean, it's clearly McLaren are taking this. 81% of the vote. 16% Ferrari. That's a big skew. Big skew to McLaren over Ferrari, actually. Damn. There you go. Pyre Army. Well, I mean, you're going to have to do what you can from P3 by the looks of it, because that is where the people have voted McLaren. P3. Update that. Bosh. Right. Cool. Okay. These have all been actually quite... yeah, the majority have certainly been... None of these votes have really gone down to the wire for any of the positions. 80% of you now, of 937, have given it to McLaren. 17% Ferrari. So then finally... I'm just going to do who's P1. We only need 2 options for this. Is it Ferrari? Or is it Red Bull? Remember, you're voting for P1, not P2. You're voting for P1 because, you know, that's more fun. Vote for P1 in the poll. Who's quickest? Who's looking most rapid out of this test? Oh, I tell you what, the Tifosi, you're fighting, and I respect it. You're fighting, right? I appreciate and respect that, but there's not enough of you. But I tell you what, this is probably one of the closest, probably the closest split in terms of like ratio of splitting. And once again, it means I don't need to change my graphics at all on the back end. So what you've done is put them in the exact order of my predictions, which I made before testing. Okay. Now, so either, right, we're both right, okay, and everyone wins, or we're both wrong. And you followed my lead. You followed me down the zero pod philosophy, the Mercedes version of the zero pod anyway, maybe not the Red Bull. And there we have it. 66% of you, just over 1,000 of you voted. 66% went Red Bull, 34% Ferrari. There is belief there. Now, is some of that just people wanting to vote Ferrari instead of Red Bull? I'm sure some of you just want to vote Ferrari instead of Red Bull, right, out of principle. But Ferrari looking serious, all right? Ferrari are looking serious. And look, I said that in my predictions, I was very much, I think that the constructors, I think Ferrari will be within 50 points of Red Bull. I still think Red Bull will win it. I think Leclerc will be within 100 points of Verstappen. Still not close, but it's closer, a lot closer than we had last year. Ferrari did look very good. They've looked very balanced. Obviously, best lap time for Carlos Sainz overall. So many caveats when it comes to in terms of like track conditions, temperature, rubbering in, etc., etc. But the long runs looked good as well that we saw yesterday from Sainz relative to Checo as well. And the thing is, with the way things are right now, you know, Red Bull did not dominate qualifying last year. So to focus our attention so much on this metric, which is fastest lap, doesn't really tell us much. It was in the races where Red Bull were able to really... Red Bull with Max at the wheel, should I say. He was able to flex and pull out these gaps, win by 20, 30 seconds, you know, pretty regularly. So the question is, have the other teams work? Because if Ferrari can manage their tyres, if Ferrari can find a way to extract the same ratio of pace from their car that Red Bull can, qualifying to race, if Ferrari can get that same ratio and not a massive drop off, because on one lap pace, what didn't a Ferrari get pole in the was it last 3 of 5 races or something? I feel like I remember seeing a stat like that. Don't quote me on that. I have to look into that. If Ferrari can stop that drop off in the same way that Red Bull, and again, part of the reason Red Bull wasn't great over a lap is because it didn't get its tyres heated up quick enough, which hurt them in qualifying, but helps them in the race. Ferrari are for sure the closest, and Leclerc is the guy who will challenge Max Verstappen if the opportunity presents itself. I firmly believe that. Carlos Sainz is a fantastic racing driver, but he's no Charles Leclerc. Thank you, Indigo, by the way, for the super chat. Let me have a quick look. So 2023 F1. So what was it? And yeah, Leclerc got pole in USA, Mexico, Vegas, and then was second in Sao Paulo and Abu Dhabi, which is where Max got his poles. Look, it worked. Like Leclerc got a pole in Azerbaijan, and then he got 3 in the last 5. Like the momentum's good. And yes, you know, Ferrari have changed their car a lot, but so has pretty much everyone. So pretty much everyone's changed their car loads. And thank you, Scott, by the way, for the super chat. I do love you, TomTom. Thank you. Other sat-navs are available. Garmin, for example. Or just use your phone and Google Maps, you know. Leclerc and pole is historically not a good thing. Well, true, Dante, true. But he's got to deliver... The reason is because he has a car that's quick over a lap, but it eats its tyres in the race, like the Haas. But just instead of getting to the midfield and then falling to the back, he gets to the front and then falls back behind the Red Bulls. Look, I know a lot of you think Leclerc's the choke artist. You know, I think Leclerc's gonna be. He's my driver of the year for this year. I think he's gonna be the driver who is most impressive of them all. Why am I so unlucky? Well, look, it's not all, you know, he does have to take some responsibility, of course, for a few incidents, but also he has had his fair share of pretty shocking luck. Thank you, Arno, and by the way, for joining Friends of Tommo. And thank you, Attila, for the super chat. Love it. Given enthusiast, thank you for the super chat. Would you drop YouTube to become a Sky pundit? Would I drop YouTube to become a Sky pundit? I would not. I'd love to. Obviously, I've done bits with Sky before, like ad hoc, being on the podcast, great fun. Ad hoc stuff for sure. Even a bit more regularly. I wouldn't say no, but if it was to the extent where I'd have to stop doing YouTube, no. Sorry, you're not getting rid of me that easy, all right? You're not getting rid of me that easy, Gibbon. I'm here to stay. This is where I'm loyal, all right? The red rectangle, the plaque. Look, right, you can't even see the plaque. I can't even flex the plaque properly. Look, that plaque, right? That plaque that I took to this, right? This is the most important thing, okay? By far and away. This is where my loyalty is alleged. But there we go. That's look, you've spoken. The people have spoken. Red Bull is quickest, followed by Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, Alpine, Williams, Sauber, and Haas. That is your top 10. It aligns perfectly with my predicted top 10. So let's see going into Bahrain. I think it's going to be pretty juicy. And yes, Static, I did see Alpine's new nose. Look, they listened to us. They listened to us. Minton isn't more important. Minton is not included in that conversation. He's a separate love. Am I ever going to cover MotoGP? I love racing cars, but as soon as it's two wheels, I have pretty much no interest. It's strange. I've watched World Superbikes, MotoGP, and I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. It's weird because like if you added like sidecars to their motorbikes, I'd be more interested. But there you go. Going to do a couple of watch-alongs this year. Maybe Riley. I'm not pushing for watch-alongs. Obviously, I'm not doing the last lap this year. I've canned that because I want to be focusing more on this channel and have my flexibility back on Sundays. Not have to shoot that in person and organise that show on my weekend. So maybe some watch-alongs. Not pushing for those, to be honest, though. We'll see. But yeah, also, new video coming very soon. I literally just finished editing it. It just needs to be... It has a wonderful ad read from a wonderful sponsor that I do not need to name. And I just need to wait for that to be approved, which should be pretty soon. So I'll give you a little... Shall I give you a little tease? Ready? Oh, it's gone. It's gone. If you weren't looking, then that's your own problem. Thank you again, Dante, for the super chat. Been a fan for a long time, been a member for a long time. I've seen how much the community has grown and how Tommo has grown. I'm still about 6 foot, and I don't think I've grown since then, but funny, humour. Right. Season is here. Looking forward to many waffles. McLaren P1. Oh, you know what, Dante? I love the energy. I love the energy. You know, there's a rewind. What are you talking about, Marv? There's not a rewind on YouTube. What are you talking about? No, so that will be coming out this weekend. So be sure to... Yeah, so it's always a fun video to do. And I didn't do it last year, did I? Last time I did it was in 2022. So, yes. Done okay for a Southerner. Thank you, Kev. Thank you. We're not all bad. Right. I'm going to wrap that. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Alvin, JMC, Deluxe, Kev, AZ, Sense, T, HSW, Erin, Defon, R, Han, Christopher, Heavy Sack. What a name. Oh, from Sacramento. Heavy Sack. I get that. All right. I was like, what do you call yourself, Heavy Sack? PP, your friend Kevin, Chris, Friday, Priest, Dale, Prithvi, Cal, Indigo, Diablo, Renato, Marius, Clarky Boy, Will.i.am, Bob, Philip, Alvin, Chelsea, Scott, Patrick, Vlad, Ashika, Anad, Cowrie, Kandava, Oliver, The Warstat, Defon, Arhan, Cassandra, David. It's been a pleasure. It always is. New video coming this weekend. Pre-race Chinwag, probably on Wednesday for the 2024 Bahrain Grand Prix. I can't wait. I'll see you there.